But the point is that I'm trying to make 50 pairs of earrings, and I'm going to try my best to just fix this mess over here and complete these chickens that you can probably see. Oh, so I'm gonna add these sunflowers because I finished these yesterday. I've got my little hook over here. I've got my two half colored hearts, which I really like. And then we've got one set of chicken ready. And yeah, I'm just gonna try and keep going. So I want to complete all of these chickens over here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sets. And then after that, I'll probably try and finish the bees, but it does mean that I have to do the wings for the bees and sew all of that on and then do the faces. So it could take a little while, but that's the plan. And then let's see here. So if I just take this so I can separate it a little bit. So I've got the bees. Now for the birds, what I have to do is I made this bird yesterday and I'll do the next one as a tutorial so that you guys can have that. I'll also do a heart tutorial maybe today. I'll see what I can pump out. Um, let's just let's see what happens. This is a lot to do. And even after I fixed up all of these, I'll have only 40, I think it's 41 pairs of earrings or something like that. 41? Pretty sure. So there's a lot to go here. Thanks for the like, whoever that is. Alright, so let us begin by finishing these chickens. I've got these two and this one to go. So I'm going to grab my yarn. I'm just going to take it one step at a time. Just one little step at a time. So what we'll do here is I'll start with this chicken slash duck. I'm not really sure what it is. It's got a pink beak, so I'm like, oh, it looks a little bit like a duck. And I think it kind of flows nicely. So I'm going to make a French knot eye. Kind of need some space though, just because the French knots are not always easy, especially trying to get the right techniques for it. But if you know how to do the French knots, they are so handy, and I assure you, you guys should try them too. So I'm gonna come in here, try my first eye, then I'll come out here and do my second eye. So I'm just pulling, you can see it's already getting trapped on an earring. This is the beauty of yarn. It just loves to find itself getting tangled up here, there, and everywhere. So I'm just gonna pull this. Oh dear, what have I done? There. Okay. Phew. I was a little bit worried that I'd ruined my first eye for a second. Okay, now I'm going to make the second eye. And if you just wanted to make one eye at a time, you could come back out here with the needle, tie this up, and then start your second French knot. Like, because French knots are not the easiest thing to do, but you do get used to them with the technique. And there is a specific technique to it so that it just works out properly. But mind you, not every time it works out the best way. So you really do just have to be very patient and try your best with the techniques, which I have taught many, many times in these lives and also in my tutorial videos. So go check those out if you want to make something like this as well. Um, I oh the duck tutorial. So this is the one that oh, as you can see, that did not work out, right? Look at that eye. That's terrible. This is so cute. Do you sell them? Yes, I will be selling them on Etsy once I've made up to 50. And also thank you so much for saying that. That's very lovely of you. Um, yeah, so I'm gonna be selling them on Etsy as soon as I finish 50 pairs. So I'm currently up to like maybe after I've completed all of this, maybe around ooh, I want to say maybe like 41 pairs. So then I'll have another 9 to go. I'm trying to make Cinderella as well, but I want to have a video of that one. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm up to right now. I'm doing my best. This takes a long time, honestly, but it's fun. It is very fun. I got into micro crochet about I want to say maybe 2-ish weeks ago. Whenever I posted that first video about micro crochet, that was the first time that I got into it. So maybe two-ish weeks. Ooh, I'm having trouble with this eye actually. And the reason is because the stitch space is so big. And so I'm trying to find the perfect solution to create this eye such that it doesn't come back into my stitch space like it did last time, and also even if I was to poke my needle in a separate section, maybe there, it wouldn't look like it's so far away, as in the eye space being so thick. So I'm trying my best, doing my best here. How are you guys today, by the way? So there, pull that eye, it's perfect because I went in a slightly different stitch space, like that was just maybe in, so instead of maybe here where I came out, I went slightly higher, just getting a bit more of the other yarn. And this is why you have the benefit of using a very sharp needle here, so that you can make those slight adjustments where necessary. Because if my needle was not sharp, I wouldn't be able to poke my needle in a separate area that's very close, getting into a different thread of yarn, just to make that French knot stuck in place. So these are the, you kind of learn these techniques as you go along actually, but also they're there as well to help you whenever you're doing this. And French knots are not difficult, they just take a little bit of practice with the technique that you use. So maybe I'll show you a little bit. I'm doing micro crochet, so it is going to be, it's the same technique, but obviously it's a little bit more difficult because micro crochet is just a lot smaller in general. But let's try, for instance, let's get this. Oh, we've already done this one. Which one have we not done? So we've done this, all of these. Maybe, so I've got this duck and this duck to go, but I want to do their beaks first. And I'm thinking yellow beak as well. Okay, let's see. So I'll put this over here. I'll grab some yellow yarn, just one ply. So what I've been doing is I've been using my 4-ply cotton yarn, and then I just peel off one strand of that cotton yarn to get one ply. And then I've been working with one ply whilst I do all of these micro crochet things, and it's been working brilliantly. It's just essentially cotton yarn that I'm using to make all of these micro crochet earrings, and I love it. It's looking great. I've had no issues with it, and yeah, it's working out perfectly. Okay, so we're going to create this beak, a little duck beak, and I won't go too far here because I just want to make sure. I'm going to make sure I'm getting a beautiful beak here that's not too large, but again, it's up to you how you want to make your beak look like how thick, how wide, and things like that. Mine just spans, for this one, it spans the space of one stitch space, just one stitch space. And then on a few of my other ducks, I've spanned it across 2 stitch spaces. But for this one, we're just doing one. And I always try to find like where the middle position is. That's why I do the beak first and then I'll position the eyes later. So that's the reasons for those. And then in some cases, I'll do the eyes first. So for instance, maybe the birds, these birds that I have here, I'll do the eyes first. But as you can see me just doing a lot of, and we call this embroidery. So it's making little shapes with my needle and thread. And yeah, that technique is called embroidery, not sewing. Sewing is when you kind of sew things together or sew up and down one thing. I can see how it's got similarities, but this here is like embroidery. Embroidery, making different shapes and patterns to get what you want. So there's my first beak. Hope you can see that. That's my first beak. And now I'm going to tie this right here. That's why I've pulled the cotton yarn out of the same stitch space so that I can tie it, and then once I cut it, I can push it back inside. So let's see here. So I'm going to cut this right at the end. Boom. Get rid of this one, and then I'll just use the back of my needle here to push this inside. So it's already tied in a double knot, so it shouldn't come undone. It's very secure there. And just hide it in the back there. So now let me do the same with my second pair. So I'm just coming anywhere here, and then I'll, let me see, just need to get this right. So one here, then I'll come over to this side, poke a hole here, and then come about 2 stitch spaces below it to find that center point for my duck's beak. And I'll just keep weaving in and out of these stitch spaces until I have a fully formed beak. It's currently 8:54 in the morning here in Australia. By the way, I'm from Australia, if you guys don't know. Um, and yeah, it's a nice place in Australia. I'm particularly from the Central Coast, which is in New South Wales. It's about 1 hour away from Sydney. But yeah, it's nice. It's a nice area. And I've been here for most of my life, actually. I've got 2 siblings that live in the US, which is always cool. So I get to visit the US almost every year because I try to visit my nieces and nephews as much as possible. Because obviously I love them all so much. And then I've got a few nieces and nephews here as well. It's fun being an auntie. I actually recently took my 2 little nephews, 5 and 3 years old, yesterday to like 2 little parks, and then we had pancakes for breakfast because they slept over. Yeah, it was fun. I really love being an auntie. It is fun. Okay, so I'm just going to try and get into that same stitch space at the back here so that I can eventually tie these 2 strands together. Just manipulate this yarn thread so it can fall into a good position here. Eventually I'm going to try and, I need to buy a speaker so I can put some music on during these lives because it is quite quiet. And I know someone mentioned that before, so I should probably do that. It's just that my laptop currently, the speakers are not great on it, so it sounds very muffled. So I was like, I don't want to use that for the music. But we'll eventually get there. Find some decent music to play alongside me doing this. Unless, of course, I'm doing tutorials, and then I'll just be speaking the entire time to help you guys learn how to make these things. So there's my second beak. We've done that now, and now I'm going to get rid of my yellow yarn, and I'm going to go back to grabbing some of my black colored yarn, because with the black, what I want to do is make the eyes. So I'll just pull that apart there. I actually like how I've chosen, well, actually someone voted this, but like yellow for the blue birds and then pink beaks for the yellow birds. I think it's such an excellent choice. It was either going to be yellow, pink, or orange for the beak. And most people voted pink for the yellow and yellow for the blue. So it worked out perfectly. Okay, so now what we're going to do is make this French eye. Well, technically, yeah, it's kind of a French eye because we're using the French knot technique. Now, all I need to do is think about where I'm going to place the eye, and I think I'll put it here. So here, I'll teach you how to do the French knot again. So I just put my yarn needle at the back here, and then it comes out right next to the beak, wherever you want your eye to be, and then pull the yarn all the way until you've just got maybe like a little bit left behind, because you don't want to pull this all the way through, because you'll use this for tying and not later on. And then what we'll do at this point, and this is the very important thing here. Sorry, I'm just yawning. This is the really important technique here that you need to know. So you don't put your needle this way coming underneath. So from top down, you don't do that, which is kind of the intuitive way to do a French knot, and I'm sure some people do this, and their French knots won't turn out the best, which is why people might say, "Oh, I don't know how to do it. I tried it, but it didn't work." It's all about the positioning of the needle is the thing here. So you actually come, so here's my yarn strand here, and I'm gonna come from bottom underneath to top. So that's the important point here, bottom underneath to top. And then I'm going to grab the yarn from underneath and pull it to my left side. And then I'm going to slightly twist this needle to also my left top corner left diagonal. And then with this yarn strand here, I'm actually going to wrap it around once, twice. Now for French knots, you can wrap it around more times if you want a bigger thickness or a thicker eye or something like that. You might use a smaller needle, you might use smaller weighted thread. So like all of those things you can adjust for your eyes. But I've wrapped it twice, and now I'm pulling the needle back but keeping everything nice and secure. You don't want to make it loose at this point. And then I'm going to go into the same stitch space where my eye was, that same stitch space. And then if you're not comfortable to finishing, as in you're not comfortable to making another French knot straight away, then you can come out at the back here where this yarn tail was, tie it together, cut it, and then start your second one fresh. But if you are confident, then you can directly place your needle wherever the second eye is going to be. And my second eye is going to be right here. So I'm going to pull my needle through. And you want to do this very slowly. You don't want a fast technique. And if you need a pair of pliers, then just grab yourself a pair of pliers and pull it through as well. As you can see, I've just done. And now you want to keep this tail out the way, and you don't want to move it too fast because you don't want to make knots. So you can see I'm just going very slowly here so as not to make any knots or anything like that. And just pull it slightly until you have made your first eye French knot. And there's my one. So there's my first eye. Looks like that. It's pretty good. I like it. So we're going to move on to now the second eye. So again, let's do this technique. So remember, you're coming from bottom to top, bottom underneath to top. You're grabbing the yarn from underneath, and then you twist your needle to the left diagonal, top left diagonal. Keep it all nice and tight. Wrap twice. I chose twice because that's the desired thickness that I want. But again, it doesn't have to be like that. And then I'm coming into pretty much the same stitch space over here. I might just move it to slightly off center so that I can grab another piece of yarn, and that's why my sewing needle is so sharp, so that I can really go in any place that I want. And so that's what I've done here. And then I'm going to go right to the back over here where my yarn tail was initially. That's where I entered my yarn. If it was too far away, I could come out anywhere else and then go into that same stitch and then come out there. So there's no perfect way of doing this. It's just whatever is easiest for you guys. Now I'm going to pull my needle through. I'm going to pull this slowly because we have a lot of yarn here. So we've got to do this nice and slowly because we don't want knots, is my thing here. We don't want knots. I'm going to pull this all the way to the end. And there we go. There is my second eye. And I've just adjusted that just to make it look like those eyes are looking the same, which is exactly what we want. And then all I do right here at the back here is I'm going to tie this together. So I can take my needle out at this point if I want. I'm just keeping mine in because I'm going to still be using this black yarn to make other French knot eyes for my other chickens. And then at this point, once I've made a double knot, I'm going to grab the yarn, cut it very close to that knot space, and then just with the back of my needle to fully finish this off, I'm going to push in the black knot into that stitch space so we can hide it. And I hope we've gone into one stitch space. Yes, we did. Good. I was getting afraid there that I had started in one spot and come out in a different spot. That's why you really want to have the same stitch space where your needle comes in and out of to finish that duck earring. Okay, so that's that duck earring. We have one more to go, and then we can start putting our little jump hoops and hooks onto these little ducklings to make a total of, I think I'll have 5 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless I have one inside there, which I might have. Oh, sorry, I yawned again. Okay, so let's make the next set of eyes. So I'm coming out here, pulling my black colored yarn over here. So you can see there's a lot of work that goes into these earrings. It's not just about the sewing, it's not just about the crocheting part. It's also about all of these techniques that go on top of it to just make the perfect looking duck or bee or bird or cinnamon roll, whatever it may be. And those are all the things that I've made, by the way. So that's why I'm mentioning them. Okay, coming out over here. I've just got to be careful with this. Hope you can see it. Because the stitch spaces are a little bit larger than my sewing needle, so they can easily fall back in, which is why I've tried my very best to have my needle. So for instance, my needle came out here, but when I enter it in again, I might go slightly on top, where I'm just grabbing a few of the other threads so I prevent it from ever falling inside if I pull it too much. I really hope that does make sense, but that's why I have such a sharp needle. It's very sharp at the top, and you definitely don't want to prick yourself with this. Like I have many times and caused myself a lot of pain and injury because of doing that. And blood too. Ew. Okay, so let me continue here. So I'm gonna wrap this around twice, keeping it all nice and tight because I don't want this to be loose or fall apart. Coming into a separate section there and putting the trying to put the needle to come out of the same stitch space where I entered it into. And I've just got to be very careful with this because again, this is the part where I don't want the needle to go through and any additional thread. It has to come out in that stitch space so that I can tie it and pull it back in together. So that's where you have to be careful when you're working with very sharp needles, because sometimes it can go through the stitch space when you don't want it to, and other times you don't want it to. So you just have to be very mindful of the positioning of your needle when you're doing all of this stuff. But again, like I don't want to scare you into it. This is not difficult. It's just little things that you need to know. That's all. Just tiny little things that you need to know so you can make the perfect set of eyes, the perfect embroidery for your projects. And it's usually just the eyes that are probably the hardest part. And if you really do have difficulty with eyes, then all I would suggest to do is sew in and out of one strand. And that's probably your easiest thing. Just sew in and around one strand and you'll be absolutely fine. Sure, you might not get a circle looking eye, but it's if you can't if you're not able to do that, like there's no point worrying about it or stressing over it or frustrating yourself over it. A straight eye is gonna look just fine. So I hope that makes sense for you guys. Okay, now let me just yawn again. So now what I'm gonna be doing, I got my pairs of ducks. So here's my duck pairs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just want to find the tall ones. 5, 6, and 7, 8. Okay, so now what I need to do, since all of these ducks are finished, I need to grab my jump hoops or loops. So here they are. I'll need 8 of these. 1, 2, 3. How have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, drop one over there. Here it is. 7 and 8. Okay, so we've got that. Next, we would like to have our hooks. So let's grab some hooks. We'll need 8 hooks in total. So here's my hooks here. Let's pull them out. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And these are sterling silver, by the way. So you can be assured that they won't rust. I usually try and invest in a little bit more, a better quality metal, because you really don't want your earrings to rust. And since I'm going to be selling these, I'm not going to be selling terrible earrings. So I gotta do my best to get these as nice earrings. I wish I could wear these myself, but sure, I could make it, but at the same time, it's like when I've made one and I'm like, oh, I could have this for myself. Then I'm like, no, but then it's like I never get around to making anything for myself. Anyways, we only have one comment on here, but I hope you guys are enjoying anyway. Me mindlessly speaking to myself and to you guys, hopefully. That's what my aim is anyway. But I don't want this boring for you. So feel free to ask any sort of questions that you want. Don't forget to subscribe as well, because we've got lots of stuff on this YouTube channel and many, many, many more tutorials coming out, as well as other things like more entertainment videos, more beginner lessons for those of you who have never crocheted in your lives before. I can help you from the very basics, even just how to hold a yarn and hook. I thought of a video where I'm going to try very soon to try left-handed crochet, because I've never done that in my life, and I thought it would be fun just to see how it is. And maybe that's what it feels like when you begin crocheting anyway, where you feel like you've got no control over anything. So I thought I would try that. It would be an entertaining idea. And obviously I've got a few other videos in my head about what I want to do for this channel. So hopefully you enjoy, and we can create a lovely community together. I really hope so anyway. Okay, so we're just putting on these hooks, and I probably didn't describe this to you, but I can on my next duck. There's so many ducks here, right? So I'll describe in the very next duck exactly what I'm doing and how I know where to put the hoop and how it looks and why I want it there and things like that. So here's 2 of them. That's done. Now let's do the other 6. So what I do is I grab the hook, not the hook, the jump, what's this? Jump hoop. And what I do is I never open from, like open it from, I don't even know how to describe this direction, but like from up, pulling it upwards. I never do that. Instead, I go to the side and I pull it sideways. So I always pull my ring sideways, by the way. And I feel like there's just a lot more control when you pull it sideways, as opposed to pulling it upwards and pulling it apart. Because you kind of ruin that circle shape once you pull it apart, upwards and downwards. And so by pulling it from the side so that you can open it up, you really have more of that control over your hoop. Now when I have my little duck, I'm turning my duck to the side, And then my little jump hoop here is going to also go in from the side, and it's going to go around this section here. So it's kind of like that very centered section. But so I find the very middle center point, and then I go from outside it, and my hoop comes up outside that too. So I kind of twist my hoop just a little bit, and then it comes out around that very center hole. You can't see it, but I'm around it. And then I will grab my hook at this point. Now just be very careful with these hooks. And what I will do, as you can see, it's facing the back, right? And that's what we want. That's why I put these jump hoops at the side, so that the hook faces the back. And then I will use my pair of pliers to really push it back. So sideways again, but you're pushing it back. And then that middle point, once you know it's closed, I kind of turn it so that it's inside my duck. And that way there's just no room for this hook to come apart at all. Like it shouldn't anyway, but it just minimizes that percentage chance further because I've hidden it inside. And so there you go, there's that duck shaped earring, so that when I put this earring into my ear, that duck is gonna face forward. Got any comments? None at all, no problem. I hope this is helping you though, and I hope it's being a little bit entertaining. It helps you learn how to create your own, especially when you're following my tutorial videos, because I will put out tutorial videos of all this stuff, guys. I will do my best to get out as many videos as possible, and I hope you do end up watching them so that you can make this for yourselves. Okay, so we've got the jump hoop coming out at the side again. We've got our hook. And make sure your hands are clean, by the way. Always sure your hands are clean. You never want to be working with dirty hands whilst you're working with earrings. Like I'll spray these anyway with that like hypoallergenic spray, whatever, just like to make sure that these are as clean as possible. But when you're making earrings that you want to sell, you want to always keep as clean as possible. So make sure you have a little bit of antibacterial gel or spray, alcohol, whatever it is, so you keep your hands clean. Okay, now we're coming to our next jump hoop, pulling it out from the side as always, and we have 4 more little ducks to go until we finish our duck population. Are any of you guys animal lovers here in the chat? I love animals, but I'm not like a die-hardcore fan of animals. Like dogs, I love. Cats, I'm actually scared of cats, but that's because I was never raised with cats, so I always get scared of them. Kittens, so cute, but cats, they just freak me out a little bit because they feel so unpredictable, and also their tongues are so, they've got obviously those like sharper tongues to clean out their fur and stuff like that, and that's how they get all those hairballs. Ew. But at the same time, with all of that, if they lick you, it just feels so weird. I've had a cat lick me before, and I was like, what? What is that feeling? But yeah, I do love dogs though. So I'm just finding the center point again here, and I'm going to enter my hook through that and come out at a different place, but still have it as centered as possible because you don't want to disrupt that here. Still no one in the chat. No worries. Today the chat is just not very active. Last night it was quite active and I really enjoyed it. I love when the chat is active because it just, I don't know, it makes conversations a lot easier, I think. Obviously. But anyway, so here's my next one. So we've done 6 now. We've completed 6 in total. Got another 2 ducks to go. Oh, we don't want to, oh, we just dropped 2 now. 1, and 2. Oh, do you see how it kind of sticks on? There must be some magnetic component there. Okay, so grabbing this, grabbing my next little duck, and just want to make sure I'm doing this properly. Come in here, one side. You just got to be very careful here because you never want to break the yarn. You never want to break that yarn. That's all I would let you know. So just always be mindful of how, like the tension that you're using as you're making these earrings or crocheting with micro yarn. Micro yarn. Well, it's just a smaller thread. And I'm gonna turn that inside here. Perfect. There's our 7th earring, and we have one left for this next duck. One left. We are making lots of progress, and I'm very happy about this. So glad we're being able to finish these ducks. I started these actually yesterday, and now I'm finishing them this morning. And it does feel nice to be able to finish them because, again, I've been working very hard on these earrings for the last 2.5 weeks or so, maybe even 3 weeks. I could be thinking I'm doing better than I actually am, but yeah, it feels like it's been a while. I've been focusing all my time and attention on this, and it's been super fun. I've really enjoyed my micro crochet journey as well. Micro crochet is something that I never thought I would be interested in doing, but since you can make earrings and little pendants and necklaces, I've been enjoying it more and more. I think it's a great little skill to have, especially when you want to make something very cute and dainty for your friends. This is just a skill to have. Alright, so I've got my little earring cards here, and I'll need 4 of them because we're making 4 duck earrings. And now what I would do is, as you can see, we've got these little holes here, so I can poke these out. I don't even need to do that really, like if I'm really thinking about it. So what I'll do here is I'll put in the hook from the duck, just like that. You can see we've got these 2 ducks, and I'll fix them up at the end here, but let me just get them, let's get the ducks inside the earring cards first, and then we can secure them at the back in just a moment. So we've got 2 there, it's number 2. Then here is going to be my 3rd little duck earring placeholder right here. So that's number 3. Perfect. Just had to check the sizing for those ones. And then here is number 4. 1 and 2. Now, if I had an earring, I'd put it over here. So this is why these cards are really perfect. I love them. Okay, now what we need to do is we've got these back parts. This like I think you call them the stopper. I'm not an earring genius or anything like that, but that's what I believe they are. That's their function anyway. So it stops it from the earring to come apart. So if I just find that middle section and push it up there as much as possible, then that's exactly what I'm allowing the stopper to do. Stop the earrings from coming out. Well, I need some for these ones. These already have. Perfect. Okay, so let's do this one here. I'm gonna stop them as well. Push it up best as possible. And I like these stoppers here. When I bought terrible earrings that weren't sterling silver and were just they would have rusted and things like that, I decided, oh, when I put the stoppers on, it was only the stopper part where it turned a different color. It must have been because, I don't know, either oxygen was trapped inside and it started corroding. I don't really know how it worked, but it was terrible. And so ever since, I've never bought a bad set of earrings again. I've always made sure it's like sterling silver, or something that just doesn't rust, because that's exactly what you want. You don't want rusting earrings. Okay, so we've got a few more stoppers here, and I think I'll put them on the backs of my hearts because I don't believe I put stoppers on my hearts. There we go. So here, and also I have to do another live of how I make a heart. So stay tuned for that. Probably later on tonight, I can make a heart-shaped earring, and we can make that together. And here's my other earring over here, which I need stoppers for too. So here's one. Need to get a few more stoppers. Just place them over here. A couple more. So I'm grabbing another one. Gonna chuck it. Chuck is chuck an Australian slang? I feel like I use it a lot. Chuck it over here, chuck it over there. I know for driving you can say chuck a U-wee, although we don't really do many U-turns in Australia, I must say. But yeah, chuck it feels like an Australian slang. Here are my sunflower earrings, as you can see, sunflowers. And I'm gonna put stoppers on the back of these as well. I'm surprised no one's talking in the chat today. Where are you guys? Where's all my friends? I'm kidding. Although I'm kind of not kidding at the same time. So chucking on these stoppers, sunflowers, and then I've got these final pair of stoppers, and we'll put them on here. Okay, so how many pairs of earrings do we have now? Let's see. We've got 11 people left watching. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we've got 9 pairs of earrings here. I'll have to put them in plastic packets at the end. But I'll try and move them to the side so that they don't get hurt anywhere. And now we have these bees. So we've got the bees now that I have to work with. Now there's no problem with the bees, but all I would say is there's still a lot of work to do for each of these bees. And the reason is I have to make the wings yet. I still have to make these wings, as you can see. You see those white wings? I'm gonna make each of them, which is not entirely a walk in the park. Now what I need to do first is grab my yarn needle. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to be able to do all of these. Like, I have to do them anyway. I'm just not sure if I should do it as a live, because it can be a little bit difficult getting the positions and things like that right. But what we do need to do is we need to close each of these centers. So I'm gonna do that now with my yarn needle. So I've got a relatively large yarn tail that I've got here. I'm gonna poke it through the eye of the needle, just like that. And then I'm going to go into my bee butt and pull the yarn, weave the yarn through the front loops of each of the remaining stitches that we have here. So just the front loops, not the front and back, only the front loops. And you just want to be very mindful of how you do this, because you don't want to be going into those back loops, and as it will prevent you from pulling all of this to close the circle at the end. Although I've never tried it, it could still work, it just might be a little bit more difficult. I just know that the technique to closing this is to go inside the front loops. Then I've pulled my yarn, and you don't want to pull that too tightly either. Then I'll go right into the center, and then I'll come out at any other place. And you pull that, you get a flat bottom for our bee, then I'll just come out over here, push it out, and at this point I can cut the yarn. Boom, finish that bee buddy. So that's 1, that's 2, we've got 3 left to make. Now for this one, it might be a little bit tricky because I don't have much of a yarn tail left there. So that was my fault because I didn't cut enough. And with this one, this was just way too long. So it's like I've overcompensated for one and undercompensated for another, unfortunately. But it is what it is, and we will make do. We will find a way. Always find solutions to any issues that you guys have. There's always a solution. And that is the art of what you call troubleshooting. If you've ever heard that term before, that's exactly what it is. Troubleshooting. There's something that's gone wrong, and you try and find the reason for why it went wrong, and then a solution of how to correct it. That is called troubleshooting. Okay, so we're just again going into the front loops of my remaining stitches from our bee. And because I have quite a sharp needle here, I'm being very careful to only go into the front loops because I don't want to go into any of those back loops. There we go. Now I'm going to pull it. Watch it how it pulls. And it closes it up as soon as you pull it. Get rid of that fiber feeling. Don't pull it too tight either because you don't want it to snap. And once you've pulled it, you'll enter your needle through the center point. You can come out anywhere where it's yellow. And just pull it a little bit to make a flat bottom or backside of the bee. And I'm going to go into another stitch and just come out anywhere, and that will really secure it. And I don't pull this part too hard either, just because I want to make sure I don't get an indentation into my bee. So there's that one. Now oh gosh, both of these yarn tails are very short, but let's see what we can do. Anyone said hey? Nope, it's okay. We got 90 people watching, but I say hi to you guys. Hey, thank you for coming and watching. I really appreciate it. And I hope you are enjoying watching this, or how I make earrings. Essentially, that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just making earrings. Okay, so we're going into the front loops again of each of my earring what am I saying? Going into the front loops of each of these stitches left behind in my final round of crocheting. And then I don't have the best amount of yarn to be able to do this, but we're doing our best here and making do with what we have. So next time I'll probably cut a larger yarn tail, just so we don't make it difficult for ourselves whilst we're trying to weave into these yarn spaces. Okay, I'm gonna pull this here. It's looking very good. I'm gonna go into the center now, come out at any place. I always like to grab it right here before I pull it too much. And then I've pulled it so that we made a flat bottom for our bee. And then I'm going to come in one other place, come out where there's yellow, not on the black, and then pull but not too tightly, and then I cut the yarn, and that finishes that off. And if you see any of the yarn sticking out like here, I kind of just push it back inside so we can fully hide that. Okay, we have one more to close up. I think this is where I have the shortest amount of yarn. Still no one has said hi. I'm waiting for you guys to say hi. Okay, so chuck in my yarn to the eye of the needle. And let's go through these front stitches, these front loops of my stitches. Let's try that. I'm trying actually to go through 2 front loops at a time so that my yarn doesn't get too short and then I'm just struggling. I'll be struggling if I can't get through 2 at a time, I think. Here's one more. You can see like how pulled I am just to try and get the yarn tail through it. I don't have much space, but we're doing it. Oh, that's not a front loop. Okay, let's pull that. Actually, that looks perfect. Oh no! You can see that's not what I wanted to happen. It's my worst nightmare when the yarn strand comes off the needle, just because I hate threading the yarn through the needle. It's one of the worst things for me in whole of crochet is threading the yarn through the eye of the needle. I hate this more than sewing, more than embroidery. I absolutely loathe it. And we'll just try. I've got to weave my yarn in again. It's because it's too short. The yarn tail is just far too short for me. I'll grab this. I've got to pull the needle down, roll this up, chuck it through. Oh, but when the yarn just goes so perfectly through the eye of the needle with no struggle at all, I don't mind threading yarn through the eye of the needle ever. So it just depends on the difficulty of it. And I've had more difficulty than I feel like I've had ease. So, guys, you gotta say hi to me. There's so many of you here. There's 24, well, relatively a good amount. We've got 24 of you lovely people here. Say hi. Say hi in the chat. This chat works. I wonder if I could say hi. Am I able to write in the chat? I don't think I can actually. What does this plus button do? I don't know. I can't write, but I can talk to you if you say hi. We can all say hi to each other. Alright, so I've got my, I'll have maybe these two bees together, these two bees, and these two bees. Oh, this one is a little bit larger than this one, so I might keep these two together. Oh, actually, this one's smaller too. Okay, maybe I'll do that. Those two, and these two. The next thing that I have to do is create wings, but I'm not sure if you guys are even here, so maybe I will do this in a separate live, maybe something tomorrow, because we have been on here for almost an hour now as well. So, yeah, so what I'll do is I'll complete these later tonight. So if you're on and you want to join the live, feel free to come on later tonight where we can make the wings for this and maybe have a little bit more interactions in the chat and stuff like that, which would be fun. But otherwise, I hope I've taught you something. We've made lots of earrings. We've made half heart earrings, like half different colors. We've made lots of chickens. We've learned the French knot. We've done so much here, and I hope you have enjoyed it. And later tonight, we'll finish these bees and a couple of the birds, and I'll have some tutorials that will come out as well. But thank you so much for joining and being here. I really appreciate all of you guys. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe because it will be lovely to have you here on this channel more. All right, see you guys. Thanks so much. Bye. Wait, how have we got people? Wait, how am I only seeing this now? Wait. Wait, there's been a lot of you chatting and I haven't seen any of it. It only just popped up now. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Okay, that's so strange. What happened on this live? We had Estefania, we said hola, we had Skew that said so beautiful also. Oh, thank you, Skew. So sorry I couldn't read this. I don't know what happened. Then we had Slay Queen saying, oh, can I have one, please? Paige, you said hi. It's Sydney, so cute. What are you making right now? We were making earrings. Paige, hi. Catalina, hi. Yoga George, did you just fart? No. That was probably my stomach. I'm starving. Why would I fart? No. If you say pineapple, I will subscribe. Oh, pineapple, absolutely. I'll say that. We need subscribers. Valerie, hey, how are you? Maggie, hi. I didn't see anyone in the chat saying all of this stuff. Maggie, do you remember me? Of course I remember you. Thank you for coming again. Evie, I also remember you as well. Hey, sorry I wasn't online. I'm so busy. You're more than fine. And Mimosa, hi. Guys, I didn't see any of these chat messages. It for me it just stopped right at the beginning. I don't know why. Um, but oh, I kind of feel like I've missed out. But anyways, I'll be back on later tonight, so I hope some of you can come back and we can enjoy this together. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.